Okay, so tomorrow in the computer lab, you're going to have to take some seismic wave data, your P and S wave velocity data, and create a double line graph for it. And instead of using graph paper and a pencil, we're going to use the computer and Google Sheets. So in order to do that, we have to open a Google Sheets. And if you don't have Google Sheets up on your screen, if you go to Google Drive, and you can get through your waffle here. And then you go to New, and then go down and open a Google Sheets, and it'll give you a blank Google Sheet. And the first thing that we'll want to do is we'll want to title the Google Sheet, and we'll want to make sure that we have our name. So type your name, and then we're going to title it Seismic Wave Data. So we hopefully be able to print these in the computer lab tomorrow. So if you put your name on them, when they start coming out of the printer, you'll be able to easily find yours. Now we're going to use three columns here, column A, column B, and column C. And I'm going to give you some data for P waves and S waves. And you learned about P waves and S waves yesterday in class, and you did a Slinky lab for the P waves and the S waves. And I've got some data that I've already created. Now this is data that I've made up. It's not accurate, so don't copy my data and think you're going to have a really good Google Sheet, because it's inaccurate. Now when you look at this, column A is my depth in kilometers, and the zeros at the surface of the Earth. Then we have the P wave speed and the S wave speed, and these are in kilometers per second. But you notice that you can't read the rest of these two columns right here. So if we highlight those boxes, come over here to the icon over here that says text wrapping. When you hover over it, click on the one that looks like a U-turn arrow. That's the wrapping. Click on that. So then now my text is wrapped so I can read the heading. Now I like my graphs to be easy to be read, so what I do is I center them. So first I highlight all of my text, then I come over here to this icon, and where it says horizontal align, I'm going to change that to center align. I think it looks neater and easier to read. And I also like to put the borders around the text so that when I print it, it's really easy for me to read the columns and the rows. So I come up here to borders, make sure that your text is highlighted, click on borders, and then I do all borders. So when I look at my data, this is my depth column. This is my P wave speed at each of these corresponding depths. And this is the S wave speed for the same corresponding depths. And the speed is in kilometers per second. And now I want to do a double line graph. And in math, you do a double line graph and you use graph paper in two different colors, colored pencils. But the Google Sheets will do it for you automatically. In order to do that, you go up here to the Insert button, click on it, and come down to Chart. And then I like to go over here to the chart types because I don't want either one of these charts that are showing up. I want a double line graph, so I click on the chart types. Let's click on the very first chart here that says line graph. And then here's another one. There's a little bit of a difference, but not much. And then you hit Insert, and that automatically inserts your sheet for you. And then you can take your sheet, move it around so that you can see the data and the graph at the same time. And if you look at your graph here, you can come over here to the quick edit mode, click on a line. Okay, so if you click on the lines just right, it'll give you these other options. And I like to do this one, the point style. And for this one, I'm going to do a shape. We're going to do these circles. So your P waves should have circles on them. And we'll do the same thing with the red ones, which are the S waves. But the S waves, we want to make those triangle shapes. And then I click outside the box. And now I see the data for my P waves and my S waves. And I'm going to edit my box a little bit so I can see the data over here, or the headings, where you can read the kilometers per second. Down here you have the depth. So at the depth of 0, these are my P wave speeds and these are my S wave speeds. At 100 kilometers, that's my P wave speed, that's my S wave speed. Now, from chapter 3, we learned the different layers of the Earth, and we learned that one of the ways that geologists and seismologists learn the different layers of the Earth was looking at the speed of earthquake waves. So when the speed of the earthquakes waves either increased or decreased drastically, that's an indication of a layer, a new layer. So if I look at my chart right here, I see a big, drastic reduction in the velocity of the seismic waves, both the P waves and the S waves. So this indicates to me that there is a boundary there between two different layers. Okay, so when I get done with my graph, I have my data there, I'm going to go ahead and print my